Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another Football Manager 22 experiment, where today we're taking a look at the world's biggest World Cup. So it's over 200 nations in one World Cup. There's no qualification. It's effectively just a World Cup from the very start. So there's group games, then it goes into knockouts, and I believe the final is officially a group tournament where each team plays each other. I think it's 4 teams in there. Now, what we're going to do is just go through the tournament, see how it would work, who would win, how teams get on, and if this kind of messes with the flow of normal football. As you can see, there's 12 teams in each group, and there is a wide range. You've got the likes of Sweden, Scotland, Turkmenistan, Martinique, India, Ghana, Azerbaijan, Chinese Taipei, and that's just Group A. And if we just go down the list here, I mean, you've got Tonga in there with South Korea, Cambodia, Ukraine, Rwanda, North Korea, Belarus, Uruguay. I mean, there's lots of groups where you wouldn't necessarily say that any of the teams in there are massive, but in respect to the other teams in there, they're huge. So the likes of Group E, for example, Poland are probably the biggest team in there, and Ireland, and they're probably the ones you'd probably expect to go top 3, top 4, along with maybe Slovenia and maybe Paraguay as well. But it's a bit of an interesting one. This is going to be very interesting to see how things go. I think it's just going to be cool to see all these other nations playing different teams, seeing how they get on in performance-wise. Swaziland in there, Tuvalu, Laos, Iraq, Faroe Islands, Brazil's in that group. So, I mean, along with Italy. So that's a bit interesting, isn't it? That you've got Italy and Brazil in the same group for that one. But the likes of Tanzania, Kiribati, Reunion, Gibraltar, Cameroon. I mean, comparison that group to the one with Italy and Brazil in, very interesting. But there's loads of groups because obviously you've got to get 200 odd teams in there. San Marino's in there, Myanmar, Norway, Samoa, Uganda, Mongolia, Canada, China, of course, in there. England is in there with East Timor, Cook Islands. I don't know if they've ever played those teams. Madagascar, Kuwait, Equatorial Guinea, Cayman Islands. It's just impressive, really. But we will jump ahead. We'll see how the kind of group stage gets on in the first preliminary round anyway, and then go from there. Okay then, so here we are. We're at the end of the group stage. They all play each other once, and it's very interesting. So we'll go through each group. This may take a little bit, but I think it'll be very interesting to see each nation. We can obviously see initially Erling Haaland's top goal scorer so far with Norway with 39, Lukaku with 36, and Ciro Immobile 35. So that just shows the scoring is probably going to be quite big against a few teams. That's for sure anyway. Lewandowski, Neymar also getting very high number of average ratings within the 9s as well. 29 assists for Insigne. But Ghana, Peru, Sweden and Scotland are through. Jamaica and Tunisia just missing out there. French Guiana and Chinese Taipei not winning a single game. Then we've got in B, South Korea actually tops the group, going unbeaten. Spain drew against North Macedonia, Burkina Faso and South Korea, which led them to become second. Ukraine and North Macedonia sat in there, and just outside the top spots were Burkina Faso, who got that draw against a good Spain side. Then you've got in Group C, looks like only 3 teams were going through this group. I guess it's probably due to the points, so best of the rest sort of thing for a few of the groups. But Uruguay, Angola and Belarus going through there, probably what you'd expect considering the other teams in that group. North Korea being the team coming fourth, but by a long way. Then Group D, we've got Australia, Georgia, Nigeria and Togo. An interesting 4 teams to go through, but again, quite comfortably in the end, with Latvia and Guadeloupe quite a little bit away from them. St. Martin at the bottom there, not winning a game as well. Then we've got Poland, Paraguay, Slovenia, with Ireland in 4th. As I've mentioned, we pretty much predicted that one. And Ireland only missed out by 1 goal in the goal difference. So that's kind of crazy. But yeah, Guyana, UAE all in there, but not quite making the cut. Then you've got Guinea going top of Group F, which isn't something I'd have expected. DR Congo, Uzbekistan and Holland all being in there as well. Kosovo just missing out. France topping Group G, Mexico in second, Algeria in third. Croatia and Ivory Coast missing out. So, I mean, that's quite a big group to have knocked out a couple of bigger nations. Greece, Venezuela and Northern Ireland are through in Group H, where there's very limited competition. I mean, Armenia, Krakow, an interesting group, certainly. Then Group I is Italy, Brazil, Bulgaria, and Costa Rica. Brazil and Italy didn't quite run away with it as easily as they maybe hoped, but a draw against each other, and then Brazil also drew against Bulgaria. That kind of slipped them down to second place. Swaziland only getting the 1 point, though. Who was that against? That was against Laos. There you go. Group J, Denmark topping that one. Senegal, Russia and Congo in the top 4. Albania just missing out on that one. And then it's a little bit while away for the other teams. K, Cameroon, Switzerland and Slovakia all in there. Thailand being the team closest to getting through there. But, I mean, it's nice to see Gibraltar getting a few wins, you know, because they're used to not doing too great in Europe. But with these sort of World Cup games, they get a bit more about themselves. Then Turkey, USA and Argentina in third. Wow. Almost losing out to Bosnia and Herzegovina. And Mali's not far behind. Saudi Arabia's in there as well. So there's some good teams in that group. Austria, Serbia and Egypt in Group M going through. Suriname, Gabon, New Zealand, Iceland as well. Missing out on that one. Group N. I was going to say H. Group N is Germany, Morocco and Wales. Japan being really low down. I guess that's because they don't have an official team. But Mozambique, South Africa and Honduras were fighting for that one. Belgium, Colombia, Norway and Chile are the ones that have gone through in Group O really comfortably in the end. 9 points clear from Barbados, who finished in 5th. Then Group P, we had Montenegro, Kazakhstan and Libya. A very interesting group with a few teams going through there. American Samoa only getting the 1 win in that one, but did beat South Sudan, who ended up in 8th. So there you go. Preliminary round Group Q is Czech Republic, Canada and Cyprus. Romania and China, Sudan and Benin all missing out there. Then Portugal, England and Hungary. I didn't realise Portugal was in the same group as England. Portugal winning every single game. England only losing that one game to Portugal, and Hungary losing their 2 games to Portugal and England, but otherwise winning everything else. Then finally in Group S, it was Ecuador, Finland and the Gambia going through. So a lot of teams gone through to the first round, and you can see here that is a lot of games to be played, and it will be very interesting to see how they do in fact get on. So, yeah, let's jump ahead, see what the result is, and go from there. And here we are then. So, we've got the results in for the first round. Haaland's banged in a few more goals. We've got Angola beating USA, not what I'd have expected. Cameroon beating Georgia 3-0. Russia defeating Cyprus. Serbia beating Wales 4-1. Comfortable win there. Chile winning 3-0 against Northern Ireland. Czech Republic beating Poland 1-0, so not quite as easy as they might have thought. Costa Rica winning on penalties against Austria. Brazil beating Australia 3-1. Hungary beating Guinea 6-1. Germany beating Peru 1-0. And then you've got Greece 2-0 against the Gambia. Portugal beat Ghana 1-0. Norway beating Togo 4-2. And then we have Uruguay beating South Korea 3-1. Kazakhstan 2, North Macedonia 1. In extra time, Paraguay managed to beat Sweden. England demolished Uzbekistan 6-1. It's a bit of a harsh game for them. And then France beat Ecuador 5-0. Spain beating Canada 4-0. Ukraine beating Belarus in extra time 1-0. Slovakia winning 2-1 in extra time to Montenegro. Argentina getting knocked out against Belgium. That's one of the big teams going out early on. And same with Italy as well, who I believe actually topped the group in the group with Brazil. They lost to Nigeria 1-0, so they're out of the tournament. Denmark in extra time beat Scotland 4-2. Finland won on penalties against Egypt from a 0-0 draw. Senegal beating Holland 2-0. So that's, again, another team being knocked out who are one of the big contenders. Then you've got DR Congo beating Libya 4-0. Colombia beating Algeria 2-0. Slovenia beating Switzerland in extra time 1-0. So a little bit of a surprising one there. Bulgaria beating Morocco 3-0. And then finally, Mexico beating Turkey. So far, things are flying. Goals-wise, we know Haaland's up at the top with 42 goals, but Lukaku's in there with 36, Immobile's in there with 35, Ronaldo with 32, Choupo-Moting, Harry Kane. I mean, they have been banging the goals in. Is there anyone of one of the smaller nations? I mean, you got Musa Marega, who's maybe one of the smaller ones with Mali in there. Sorry, Kaba as well for Guinea. But otherwise, I mean, 20-odd goals is very impressive, that's for sure. Not going to be too surprised about that. Appearances, Zlatan getting 12 in there, like many others as well. But with that, let's jump again ahead and see if there is any further developments. And it'll be exciting to see the results. And we're back again. This time it's the second round. We're narrowing it down slowly but surely for the World Cup 2021, the modified giant World Cup. So Slovakia have in fact beaten Slovenia 2-1 in extra time. Venezuela beat Ukraine 2-0. Belgium beating Uruguay 2-1. Denmark winning 3-1 against Paraguay. England beat Czech Republic 2-1 to go through to the next round. And similarly, so did Colombia beating DR Congo 2-1. Mexico beat Nigeria, who did the big knockout of the group, of the tournament, I should say, in the last round. Then Kazakhstan beat Greece, so that's a bit of a surprising one, that Kazakhstan's still in the tournament. Germany beat Hungary. Spain beat France, so that's another big name going out of the tournament. Serbia beat Angola 3-2. I'm surprised Angola got so far, but fair play to them for doing so. Then you got Brazil beating Portugal 5-0. A bit of a rout there. Finland winning 1-0 against Norway. So Haaland's out of the World Cup. Bulgaria won on penalties against Senegal after a 1-1 draw. And similarly did Chile against Costa Rica after the same result. And then Cameroon beat Russia 2-0. So if we take a look at the third round, we've really got it down. So let's take a look. So we've got Cameroon. Have we got any other African countries? It looks like we don't. So Cameroon is flying the flag for the continent of Africa. We've got Mexico in there for North America, but again, no one else in there. So there, it'll be either an African country, Africa, or North America will be being knocked out in this round. We've obviously got a few European teams. I mean, I'm surprised Kazakhstan's still in there. That's very impressive that they've made it this far so far. But they have got Belgium next, which I don't give them massive hopes for. Colombia, Bulgaria, Chile, Spain, Finland, Venezuela. That's very helpful. And then England, Germany. What a game to come up. So let's jump and take a look at what the results look like. All right, then. So the third round of the World Cup. We've got Cameroon beating Mexico on penalties after a 1-1 draw. Brazil beating Serbia 3-1. Quite comfortable there. Slovakia beating Denmark 3-0. That's surprising at this stage. Kazakhstan, what a fight that is for Kazakhstan against Belgium. Only losing 3-2 to them. Colombia did beat Bulgaria 2-0. Chile beat Spain on penalties after a 0-0 draw. And Venezuela beat Finland in extra time. And so did England against Germany, this time 1-0. So, I mean, quite the result, and a few more big names getting knocked out. I have to say, Spain obviously going out is huge. But also the likes of Denmark's a bit of a surprise, especially 3-0. And Mexico, obviously, it was always going to be a tough fight between Cameroon and Mexico. But with that said, we are into the semi-final, and like I say, it's the semi-final because it will go to a group stage game to decide the champions of the world. We've got Brazil versus Cameroon, Slovakia versus Venezuela, Chile versus Belgium, and England versus Colombia. Now, it'll be tough to predict exactly who's going to get the win and go through to the final group. But what I'm saying is I'm going to go with Brazil, Slovakia. let's go Belgium and then England. That's the safest route, right? But there's only way to find out if that actually does work like that, and that is by jumping ahead. So let's take a look how things get on. Okay, so we're halfway through the group, and we can see already the outcome. But Brazil beat Cameroon in extra time to go through. So Cameroon nearly took out Brazil. Slovakia did beat Venezuela 1-0. Belgium smashed Chile 6-1, but England got knocked out by Colombia 2-1. So I think I got 3 out of the 4 right, which isn't a bad outcome. But so far, we have played 3 games as well. So Belgium are topping the group with 9 points. Brazil are actually bottom with nothing. They've lost every single game. 3-0 to Slovakia, 2-1 to Belgium, and 2-1 to Colombia. So quite the outcome so far. Belgium's on track to win the World Cup. There is 3 more games, though, so technically Brazil could still come back to win, I think. But everything's got to go their way to officially have any chance of winning it. But Colombia and Slovakia, Colombia especially, could still pip Belgium to the post. So let's jump ahead one final time and see who have won the World Cup. And here we are then. Colombia are the World Cup winners, the champions of the world. Belgium dropping down to second with 11 points. Slovakia ending on 5, and Brazil ended up getting 4 points in the last 3 games. Obviously wasn't enough, but wow. Colombia actually won the whole thing. That is so impressive. They're 3rd in the world rankings behind France and Belgium. I guess that makes sense considering they got to the final 4 to be so high up. You got Brazil in 6th there. Obviously Belgium up top. But with that said, where is Slovakia? They're down in 21st. So interesting to see. Mexico up in 7th as well. So that's nice to know. But what a team to have done that. I mean, Colombia have some good players, likes of Luis Diaz, Zapata, Rodriguez, Lerma's in there as well, who's very good. Cuadrado, Ospina, lots of experience as well. So there you go. I mean, what a tournament they've had. We can see that if we just jump back slightly, they beat Mayotte 10-0. Absolutely destruction there. Lost to Chile in the group. In fact, ended up coming through to the final with Belgium. That's impressive. Beat Belgium 6-0 as well in the group stage. Norway beat 4-0, 4-1 against Barbados. Samoa, they beat 6. Cuba 7, Myanmar 7, Mauritius 10, Kyrgyzstan 6, Macau 10, Algeria 2-0, DR Congo 1-1. Oh, these were in the knockout rounds, sorry. Yeah, I mean, they destroyed teams in the group stage, but did lose to Chile, which is an interesting one. In the first round, they beat Algeria. Luis Diaz getting 2 goals just before half-time to put them through there. They then took on DR Congo in the second round, winning 2-1 in that one. Taking the lead, going 2-0 up before half-time and managing to hold on to that lead to go through to face Bulgaria, where they did get a win, 2-0 in that one as well. Luis Diaz again getting a goal, along with James Rodriguez for the win in that one. Going through to the semi-final, that's obviously where they beat England. Went 1-0 up. Harry Kane did get a penalty back to level things, but it was Duvan Zapata who ended up getting the goal to put them through to the grand final. They only lost 1 game, and that was against Belgium, where Eden Hazard got the goal just after half time. But they beat Slovakia twice, 2-1 and 3-1, beating Brazil twice as well, 2-1 in both games, as well as drawing with Belgium, led to them winning the trophy. So they are now World Cup winners. Yeah, there's not much else you can say. What a result. What a performance by Colombia. That is not what I was expecting. And shout out to Slovakia as well, doing so well to get so far in the tournament. Very, very impressive. I think they're a little bit underdog-like with some of the players they've got, who are actually very, very good. But with that, we will leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, of course, and let me know in the comments any other experiments you want to see, and I'll be sure to try and get those done. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.